Kristi Noem has been promoted to the Shield of the Americas, he may lose his position at DHS as well, which that's also some good news from my perspective. Okay, I think that's all the time that we have for the program. As always, Sharon, thank you for being here. Thank you for making it a Big News Wednesday. I really do appreciate it.
Appreciate you more. Great show.
Awesome, thank you. And thank you everybody for being out there, for following along. We really appreciate it. There's a lot going on. The news can be rough, but we try to have fun with it, and you are a big part of that fun. With that said, more fun will be coming tomorrow because Trey Crowder is gonna be back on the program, which should be absolutely awesome. We've got great stories that I think are just right in his wheelhouse, and I can't wait to hear his perspective. And then of course on Friday, Brett will be back. Always a good time, so definitely join us for both of those. With that said, I'll see you soon. But for now, stay safe out there, stay sane out there. See you in a bit.
welcome. It's indisputable. I'm your host, Rashad Richey. Good to be with you. We have a lot on the agenda today, breaking down news of the day with me, none other than my contributor, the incomparable Tehran Von Ghasri. Always fascinating to have his analysis on the program. Top story of the day, Lindsey Graham, he's going to send your kids, specifically from South Carolina, to fight in the war that has nothing to do with the United States of America. Here it is.
I go back to South Carolina. I'm asking them to send their sons and daughters over to the MidEast. What I want you to do in the MidEast, to our friends in Saudi Arabia and other places, step forward and say, this is my fight too.
Lindsey, I got a better idea. How about we send your happy war-mongering ass to the war zone yourself? I'm sure you could bend a few laws or two to qualify. Not a problem. He won't let you forget his allegiance for even a second. Here it is.
To all the anti-Semites, to all the isolationists, I don't believe. Forget it. I'm not with you. I'm with Israel. I will be with Israel to our dying day. They're the best ally.
Sir, I thought you said you had an American first agenda. As a matter of fact, when you did an about face and started to support Trump and MAGA, you proclaimed it was because they have an American first agenda. And by the way, you're not tricking people who actually pay attention, Lindsey, because your support of the Israeli military murderous complex is not the same as your support of the people of Israel. Very different connotation. All right, put them up full mass. It's a damn shame. There you go. All you got to do is check the bank account. He reportedly helped sell Trump on the war in Iran, according to the reports. To help make the case on Iran, Graham traveled several times to Israel in recent weeks, meeting with members of the country's intelligence agency. Quote, they'll tell me things our own government won't tell me. Let me read that again. They'll tell me things our own government won't tell me. And that's very interesting, Lindsey, because you have not reported back to us what they allegedly told you. So now you are a holder of government secrets from Israel that pertain to the United States of America. Let's continue. They'll tell me things our own government won't tell me, he said. He spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, coaching him on how to lobby the president for action. Netanyahu showed the president intelligence that persuaded Trump to go ahead, Graham said. Anna Paulina Luna wants to send Graham to the front lines. So we have Republican on Republican fire here. She tweeted, quote, there are some in the Senate that advocate for war everywhere. Lindsey Graham is one of them. He does not tell the president what to do, nor does he control Congress. I have spoken with the administration a number of times, as well as other members of Congress over the last week or so. And nothing has changed regarding boots on the ground. No boots on the ground. If Senator Graham wants to go fight in a foreign conflict, let him be the first volunteer. Okay, once again, Trump gave the order. Lindsey Graham, as ridiculous as he is, and we all know that there's not a brown country he doesn't want to bomb. Lindsey Graham is providing commentary. Megyn Kelly providing commentary as well. Here's more Republican on Republican fire. So she tweeted, quote, when did Lindsey Graham become our president? in the past 24 hours, he's threatened Lebanon, Cuba, the Saudis, and wider Arab region. And now, checks notes, Spain. Let's get real. The problem with Lindsey Graham isn't just that he's a homicidal maniac. It's that Trump likes and is listening to him, and Trump's favorite channel is parading him around like a Hefner bunny in stockings on every show. Very bad visual analogy. Now, Megyn, over 10 years, you worked for that same news channel and provided your audience with those same lies. And you have admitted it on your program, saying that you now know better and you should not have done it. Lindsey, once again, I have no love for the guy, is providing commentary, just like you. Trump is the actual killer who said yes to the bombing, who bears, I would assume, more responsibility in your commentary about murderous maniacs than Lindsey. But because you are still a feckless coward, Megyn Kelly, you cannot bring yourself to call your president what he actually is. And so instead of calling it straight out, you decide to use the proxy element of people like Lindsey Graham and others and dissuade blaming Trump personally, professionally, presidentially, and directly. Shame on you. All right, dear brother, thoughts here.
Well, Dr. Ritchie, I must say that as a person who knows firsthand about the atrocities in Iran, I'm not so much upset at Senator Lindsey Graham, or I'm not so much upset at the war in Iran as I am about Senator Lindsey Graham, as we've heard from two of his compatriots, Representative Anna Luna and of course, Megyn Kelly. When they're going against you, then you're probably thinking something wrong. And the reason why no one's tweeting or saying, hey, Senator Lindsey Graham, why don't we send your kids into war first, is because he doesn't have any kids. So maybe he doesn't know what it is, or he doesn't know the horrendous tragedy that war represents. War should be a last resort, not a first condition. And even though we are clearly in last resort territory when it comes to the Islamic Republic, what we see are people wanting to go to war, not so much for the justice or the inhumanity the Islamic Republic represents, but because of their own financial gain, whether it's money from lobby groups or money that they are looking for in the future when it comes to oil, minerals, and natural gases that Iran represents. That's problematic. When we're looking at dollar signs as the reasons and not the injustice that's been going on in Iran for 47 plus years, that's problematic. When we're looking at what the lobby group can do for me and not what I can do for the lobby group mentality, where a lot of the things going on in that region of the world is because of things that the United States has set into motion, that is problematic. We've made mistakes before, and as George Bush, President Bush, we all look back now and go, man, what happened to that guy? Wasn't he great? As he said, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me again, shame on, I don't remember what he said, and he messed that quote up too. So don't mess this up. This is about a nation, it's about a country, it's about an ideology, and more importantly, it's about the safety and future of the entire world. Do not let United States go into a war haphazard and we create another Iraq, Libya, Afghanistan, Syria, Vietnam, North Korea, go down the list. Do not let that happen because of a Senator Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, and because of the groups that are backing him financially and telling him to say this. All right, we'll bring you updates as they come. Okay, what if I told you that a man praying on an airplane is accused of being a terrorist? He gets arrested for being, well, a holy, righteous individual who keeps his prayer time. Here it is.
I'm just trying to be discreet.
Stand up, let's go. Stand up. Everybody heads down. Stand up. Stay down. Stand up.
It's a damn shame. Put it at full mass. Southwest Airlines. A man was removed from a Southwest flight when attempting to pray peacefully for Ramadan. On Friday night, passengers aboard a Southwest Airlines flight from Nashville to Fort Lauderdale were told to keep their hands up and heads down in response to a reported security threat. A person was removed from a flight out of Nashville that Friday after the plane was diverted to Atlanta following what officials described as a, quote, possible security matter, end quote. However, News 2 spoke with passengers who said they didn't know why the plane changed destination until they were grounded. The thread in question, NBC News reported that the incident had to do with a passenger who had set a timer on his phone so that he could pray for Ramadan, the holiest month of the Islamic calendar. A spokesperson for the FBI in Atlanta said there was no credible threat and no charges will be filed. The story spread rapidly, obviously on social media, with claims that the man was a terrorist who had been threatening the president. Amanda Parrish, a passenger on the plane, says that is simply not true. Quote, when I started seeing all the comments, quote, this terrorist should have been arrested. He was saying death to America, death to Trump. I'm like, no, he was not, Parrish said. Parrish said the couple sitting next to the man told her he had been praying. Now, I want to take a moment just to say thank you to the passengers who decided to speak up on record, because it would have been easier, less conflict. You don't have to be concerned about people putting you in a narrative adversely if you just say nothing. But those passengers who saw an injustice being done to a man they had never met, they do not know, they have no personal connection, nor do they have a personal responsibility to that person other than their own responsibility to humanity. They decided to say something. Thank you. Thank you. There's more. Quote, she said he was reading something on his phone, which was probably Muslim prayer. She said it was like a prayer, and he had a timer on his phone, which made them uncomfortable, Parrish said. Tennessee's American Muslim Advisory Council says setting an alarm to pray 5 times a day is common, especially during Ramadan, when Muslims break their fast after sunset. I'm going to get into the Southwest Airlines statement in just a moment. There are Muslims that I know, many in Atlanta. During Ramadan, they observe the holy calendar. And even the restaurants that are Muslim-owned will close during those prayer times. And if you happen to be a patron, you have to wait for that prayer time to expire for you to be served again. That's how serious it is for those who take it as a sacred opportunity to connect with the God of their understanding. There's more. Southwest Airlines, they later did release a statement, quote, the Southwest Airlines crew of Flight 2094 on Friday made the decision to divert to Atlanta out of an abundance of caution due to what turned out to be a misunderstanding of a customer's behavior. We sincerely apologize to our customers for the misunderstanding and the significant delay. Nothing is more important to Southwest than the safety of our customers. Now, I would disagree with that. We've reported on Southwest discriminating against others. All of them happen to be people, let's just say people of color. So Southwest releases a statement. Obviously, we know this has everything to do with racial bias, cultural bias, and the bias plays out in the most extreme way you can imagine. While being in flight on a plane, you pray people think you're a criminal or a murderer because you're praying, okay? That doesn't happen if that's a white male or white female. That doesn't happen if somebody is saying the Lord's Prayer. That doesn't happen under any other context other than this man being of his background, origin, race and culture and religion, saying a prayer during Ramadan. It's intolerance is what it is. And it's a bias that is innate inside of the individuals who are there. There's more. So this incident comes in the midst of rising Islamophobia that's happening around the country, really from our elected officials. Put it up. Representative Andy Ogles, Muslims don't belong in American society. Pluralism is a lie. What? Representative Andy Fine, if they force us to choose, the choice between dogs and Muslims is not a difficult one. Once again, as Tim Scott would say, America is not a racist country. All right, dear brother, thoughts here?
Well, I must say, this one is very interesting because of what it represents. Obviously, it's indicative of this fear that's been caused and manufactured in many ways, and a sense of Muslims are others, when the truth is all people are welcome to the United States, and that's the founding infrastructure of what the United States and its system is supposed to represent. Now, I do want to know, was he praying in the middle of the aisle? Because that is a problem. Other than that, if he was praying at his seat, which is what it seems like he was doing, during the month of Ramadan, which is the holiest month, which is about rejuvenation, empathy, growth, self-discipline, self-spiritual awakening, arising, understanding charity, all these things of that nature, I don't understand what the problem is with someone praying at their seat. People do this all the time. What would happen if we started banning people because of Ash Wednesday and Ash walking around? What would happen if we started calling Jewish people walking around on Shabbat a gang and start banning that? These are things that are problematic of not only the idea of what America is, but the idea of its very single institution, the Constitution. First Amendment, freedom of religion. That is to practice. That is to be able to express your religion. It is what this nation was founded on. And if we start doing this now, what do we do later? This is a slippery slope. Religion is simply a tool. A hammer can be used to build a house or bash someone's head in. It says more about the person than it does about you. Southwest doesn't owe its passengers an apology. It owes this gentleman an apology for its passenger.
That's right. So very well said. And you make a great point, dear brother, because some of the commentary online has been, well, it's just a misunderstanding of culture. And the people who reported this, they're not necessarily bigoted. Well, if it happened to be a Jewish man praying in a native tongue, I don't think they divert the airplane and call a SWAT team in order to arrest them. I don't think that happens outside of the context of the intolerance that has been expressed and championed by many in the government, and obviously by many in American society. We'll bring updates to that story if there's an update to bring. Okay. Very sad story. It's going to make your blood boil. A man randomly shoots in a car, kills an 8-year-old child. Put it a full mask. That baby should be alive. Charles Montgomery Allen, a South Carolina man, began randomly firing at passing cars, turning what should have been an ordinary drive into the most unimaginable tragedy for one family. Allen pleaded guilty to 1 count of murder, and he pleaded guilty to 5 counts of attempted murder after he shot multiple people, including this 8-year-old Quarius Kunum. The 8-year-old was from New Hampshire. Give you the background. May 28th, 2022, 44-year-old Allen armed himself with a rifle. He armed himself with a shotgun and randomly fired at multiple cars in his neighborhood in Florence, South Carolina. The New Hampshire Union leader reported the young Aquarius and his family were in town from New Hampshire visiting relatives and were sitting in a car when Allen fired on their vehicle. Aquarius was hit in the Aquarius was hit in the neck by a bullet. He later died after being taken off of life support. His father was shot twice, but survived. Allen was taken into custody by a SWAT team. So the Florence County Sheriff, T.J. Joel, told WBTW, quote, no motive, just probably messed up. He's had a history, end quote. Just a senseless act, another quote. Allen was sentenced to life in prison for murder, ordered to serve 5 consecutive 30-year sentences for the 5 counts of attempted murder he faced. Allen actually apologized, saying he wasn't in his right mind at the time of the shooting. His family members, who were also present at the sentencing, also apologized to the victims. Quote, the only thing I can offer are my prayers, end quote. Allen has been in jail for more than 3 years since his arrest. His attorney stated that he never requested bond after learning that he shot a child. Allen would not be eligible for parole due to the nature of his crimes. And while all of that is true and on record, it doesn't bring back Allen. It doesn't bring back the child, Aquarius. And while it seems as if Allen may have been a decent person outside of the meth or drugs or whatever was going on with his mind, there's some nuances here on that day that have to be discussed authentically. One, whatever was in you, sir, needed to be dealt with in a different way. Believing you are a good person because you don't do bad, but you have bad intentions inside of you, means you have not looked deep enough into the crevices and dark spaces of your own being. This is a journey that we all go through in humanity. Drugs, alcohol, it has a way of revealing who we really are. I know, because I'm now over 10 years clean and sober. So you dealing with it prior was your responsibility. Let me go to the next phase of this. How is it that the sheriff knows you have a history with meth, but you had access to the most deadly weapons in America? That becomes an issue that we have to deal with in society. And to the family, can't imagine the suffering and the pain. My prayers, positive vibrations and thoughts are with you from me and everybody else who watches this. All right, Tehran, thoughts here.
Well, first of all, of course, my condolences and prayers to the Kunum family for losing someone so young. that is heartbreaking in every single way. And to Charles Montgomery Allen, he deserves to be in jail. Under the jail, do not pass go, do not collect $200. This is a conversation we need to have, because while the judicial system got this one right, thankfully, what didn't it not get right is the idea that there should be no restrictions on the Second Amendment.
Right.
We have restrictions on other amendments, including freedom of speech and press and gathering and religion, which is the First Amendment. Now it is time to think about these Second Amendment restrictions. I am not against guns. I am not. I am not against the Second Amendment. I'm not against guns. I'm against the Charles Montgomery Allens of the world getting guns. And they seem to get the guns first. Is this not the time for proactive hyper awareness like we had in the case with the Muslim man simply praying on the plane? This is a time where, after the meth charges and the gun charges and the violent charges, this man should not have been in possession of a weapon. And we see what happened. Please, we are tired of sending our prayers and condolences to people lost so young. And why are the good taken so quickly? Yeah. The only silver lining in this was that Charles Montgomery Allen wasn't racist. He was shooting at all the cars. So all these anti-DEI people, this is what happens. It still ends up without DEI, that people of my color and darker are the ones to DIE.
Yeah, that's right. And to the family of the convicted, if you know the family, I want you to send this to them, because they said they can only offer their prayers. Here's what else you can offer. You can become an advocate for common sense policies as it relates to access of the most deadliest weapons in this country. You can do that in the memory of that 8-year-old. So you can do a little more than just pray, all right? Faith without works is dead, according to the scripture. All right, we got more on the other side. Indisputable, stick and stay.
Hey everyone, Matteo Scarapore here, author of Black Buck, which is Shop TYT's first fiction book ever. I'm honored. So, Black Buck is about a young man named Darren who's living in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. He lives with his mom, he has his girlfriend, he has his best friend, he has his neighborhood, and his neighborhood has him. Darren's also working at a Starbucks in Midtown Manhattan. And one day, this man, real suave and good looking, comes in and asks Darren to give him his regular. But for some reason, Darren says no. This man named Rhett Daniels, who's the CEO of a startup called Someone, located on the 36th floor of the same building, is impressed. And he invites Darren upstairs, and then he extends an offer to join his elite sales team. Darren reluctantly joins, and he soon realizes that he's not the only black salesperson there. He's the only black person in the entire company. So he goes through hell and back in order to make it to the top. And once there, he has status, money, power, but he says, you know what? I don't like being the token black guy. So he hatches a plan to help other people of color infiltrate America's tech startup sales teams, redefining what it means to be a minority in the workplace. This book definitely, if you couldn't tell, touches on many things that are relevant to this moment that we're all living in right now. But it's also connected to the many moments in history that have come before today. I hope that you read it. I hope that you enjoy it. And if you want to order a copy, go to shoptyt.com. Thank you, be well, and happy 2021.
Here's the inside scoop on diners in LA. You want good pastrami sandwich, you go to Factors. You want to see some people in the business, you go to Nate and Al's. You want the best variety? My secret spot's the Nosh. Now here's the inside scoop on politics and news. You go watch the Young Turks live every day at 6 o'clock Eastern.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. I'm going to read some of these comments. Before I go to the comments, we have a big deal happening tonight. Georgia has a new gubernatorial election upcoming. I will moderate the Georgia gubernatorial debate tonight in Atlanta, Georgia. All candidates were invited. These are the candidates who will be there. Leading the polling is former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, who will be at the debate. Former statewide elected official, Labor Commissioner Michael Thurmans. Also, Jeff Duncan, the white guy, who used to be a Republican. He was the lieutenant governor. Used to be a Republican until Trump came. Decided to become anti-Trump and now is a Democrat. Jason Estevez will be there as well. Jason Estevez, state Senate member, and also former school board elected member and chair. Derek Jackson, Olu Brown, these individuals, look up their background. We'll give you more information as the show continues. But you can live stream this. There's the stream live code right on the other side of my picture. You can live stream this tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. 7 p.m. Eastern time. I think the debate starts right at 7:30 to be exact, all right? Big one. One of those individuals will be the next governor of Georgia, I believe. Okay. I got a lot of comments. We'll read as many as I can. This is going to be really interesting, all right? I'm looking forward to this. Power Panel 2.0. Power Panel 2.0. Friday at 7 p.m. 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Power Panel is back. Senator Nina Turner and Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't care how this goes. It's going to be freaking amazing. You understand? All right. Make sure you tune in. All right, let me read some of these comments. Very thankful for everyone for joining the conversation. Haku Dragon says, oh, they definitely have something compromising on his sorry ass self. It's not blind loyalty, it's necessary to his very being. Yeah. And Narc Burgess, Trump talking about drafting America's son and daughter. Sure, Donald, right after Barron enlists. Yep. Yeah, they're going to say that being flat-footed runs in the family. Okay. All right. And Kim Broderick, 9174, says this is where we are now. Islamic hate is back. And V Brown 7436, they're going to implement the draft and Black and Brown will be on the front lines. RJL Network says, are we great again? And Isaac Day 5603, much love from Boston. Thank you for this story. And I got time for one more. Thomas of Thomas. Shooter says he wasn't in his right mind when he murdered a child, but was in his right mind when he took those drugs. And then there you go. It's cause and effect. You can utilize the premise of a DUI. You may not have been in your right mind when you crashed the car and injured or killed somebody while driving intoxicated, but you were in your right mind when you started drinking alcohol, knowing you had to drive yourself home. And he was in his right mind if he took any form of narcotic and had guns around him. Okay. All right, on a lighter note, ladies and gentlemen, I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
What did you just call her?
I called her and is what I did.
My kid.
No, I called her.
My kid on too.
No, let's talk about the fact that because I'm black, you said I don't have a dad. You said I don't have a dad.
Just so you.
This happened in Frisco, Texas.
Do you need some more? Why don't we call her? You know what? Why don't we call the Coke plug? Because I think you need a little more. The plug. I think you need a little Coke. I think you do. And you just a crazy regularly? What? You're crazy all the time.
Okay. I have more video, but so far, the Karen in question has called a child an N-word according to the narrative. She is approached about this kind of behavior toward said child. It goes from bad to, well, worse. Here it is.
What you got?
Walk around here? Come on. You only got nothing in there.
She ain't got nothing.
I'm right here about to walk in my yard. Right here. Wait.
No one's gonna do. You just called my daughter, who's a 12-year-old black girl.
She called me
I don't think so.
camera right here. In the car.
Pull your.
You don't think I got a gun? Oh. Oh. And you think
You got a spirit on you. You know that, right? You have a demonic. You have a demonic attachment on you.
that's fine.
You know that. It's in your eyes.
I have spirit you.
You can't stare at me. Like I said, you can't.
Okay.
Hey.
Like, nasty.
Nobody wants to, and that's why you treat people like this.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Look at your poor dog. Don't even like you. He knows you're a crazy ass bitch.
Crazy. Y'all
No,
nasty.
my daughter called me.
Y'all can't even afford to be over here. Like,
Yes, we can.
Well, that escalated. Okay, so I'll put it at full mass. I mean, that's a scary look, man. This allegedly happened in Frisco, Texas. We do not have further details. Indisputable is requesting additional details to this. We saw enough to understand the gist of it, but damn. Tehran, when she threatened gunplay and lifted up her shirt to show her stomach and no gun, that was an interesting move there. I don't understand the goal of the Karen at that point, to show them she's not armed while saying she is in fact armed with a weapon. And why does she need a weapon for being called out for saying the N-word?
Well, first of all, Dr. Ritchie, how do we know she doesn't have Tourette's? We've seen this before in situations and award shows where people with Tourette's say a lot of different things. Maybe we should be more empathetic to her cause. Secondly, are we surprised that a Caucasian woman called anyone the N-word in the state of Texas? I don't know if that's I actually thought that was actually a mandatory recommendation for the city of Frisco. I felt like that's something you have to do in order to buy property there. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to check that up with the HOA. Lastly, why did she feel the need to use that word towards anyone? That's the important thing. She could have called that 12-year-old girl an entire calliope of different names, and we would have been okay with it. But that word coming from that person at that time, lifting her shirt to show her gut and no gun, maybe she just doesn't spell well. Maybe G-U-N sounded like G-U-T. I don't know. There's so many questions. You said we've seen enough, and I say, Dr. Ritchie, we haven't seen at all. I need more details. I need more details here. The one thing we know is that clearly the Karen in question was wrong.
Yeah, she was wrong. The 12-year-old child should have never experienced that. So obviously the family has to have a conversation as to why this happened, which is unfortunate because children change sometimes when they are faced with that kind of bigotry from an adult. And well, to the
her
Karen,
dogs didn't even like her. Her dogs didn't even like her. Just remember
right. That
dog, she probably calls her dogs the N-word. I did see a black dog in there. I'm just saying, Dr. Ritchie, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that was a quick observation by the family who approached her. All right, we'll bring you updates if they send us an update to bring you. Guarantee you. Okay, we've talked about Red Lobster on Indisputable before. Customer complaint, Red Lobster CEO, young black male, does the right thing. As a matter of fact, he has a history of making it right. One of the very few CEOs of a major company, in my opinion, who will go out of his way to do so. However, there's this situation where Red Lobster manager, according to the allegation, refused service to black customers. What was the result? Here it is.
I'm not seeing you guys, so it is what it is. You're more than welcome to call. Like I said, you can call. There's a
There's a business card on the front. You can call and speak to somebody about it, but I'm not having it. I'm not. Okay, well then you take
What
it
did
up
she
however
say?
you want.
I want to know, what did she say?
She was rude.
What did she say to be rude? We wasn't in here, so I just want to know what happened.
You guys again are arguing with me. I'm not.
Tone is louder than ours.
I'm
You're
not
laughing.
tolerating.
Look at your body language compared to our body language.
Once again, I'm not going to argue. I said no. That's it.
You said no?
Well, this is going on Facebook, and then it's going to be sent to corporate because you're a very rude, ugly.
My face right here.
Very
See my
rude.
face? Take a picture of
Okay,
it.
you're going on Facebook. You're really rude. You're really rude. That's really rude.
Leave.
Ooh, have a job. She gonna have a job tomorrow.
Oh, thank you. Remember my name spelled correctly.
What is it again?
Do not go back.
I triple. Corporate now. Yeah, call corporate now. Call them now while we here.
She got fired. Put it up full mass. I mean, the hand clap at the, come on. The footage recorded inside the restaurant and uploaded Sunday night captures both the customers and the employee exchanging profanity after the employee reportedly refused service to a party of 15 people. According to the individuals involved, the group had been waiting for 40 minutes before the situation escalated. LaPree took to Facebook on March 8th to share her side of the story. Quote, granted, we're a lot of people, but be real. You're supposed to accommodate us. It was a 30-minute wait, no problem. We will wait, he wrote. My mom asked one question, and she, the manager, snapped, talking about how she will not be seating us. She was so rude. Corporate was called, and I'm going to go up there tomorrow. She will be fired, Red Lobster. These, the type of people y'all hire? End quote. Okay, you have a party of 15 people. When I was a waiter, I used to love that many people in a section. Number one, guaranteed mandatory minimum gratuity. Number one. Number two, you can always tap one of your colleagues to assist you, and you give them a percentage of your tip so that you can properly service the 15 people at the table. Number three, typically individuals with a party of 15, they tend to actually be a little more patient with the fact that you have to service a lot of individuals, including them, and you have great conversation. That has been my experience when I was a waiter myself. For the manager to deny that opportunity to the wait staff is insane to me. And the fact she's managing a company that deals in profit for food, and you deny people because they're going to bring too many dollars to the table. That's a bad business decision, manager. So the manager was reportedly fired. Red Lobster responded on Facebook, stating that they plan to, quote, take this matter seriously. According to a March 10th report by local news outlet Vineland Today, the manager was fired after the video went viral. She may have forgotten that this guy is the CEO of Red Lobster. There you have it. All right. Tehran, you're bringing too much money to the restaurant. There's too many people here.
Well, if I may, Dr. Richie, just say, first of all, big shout out to 35-year-old Red Lobster CEO and savior, Black man, Damola Adamalokum, who has been the hero that we all needed but don't deserve. Thank you so much for saving Red Lobster. Number two, how do you even become a manager at Red Lobster if you don't serve Black people? Let's be very honest. I've been to many Red Lobsters, and the customers tend to skew Black, ma'am. Yes. Just letting you know. I would also not expect to be a manager at Popeyes and not like Black people. I wouldn't expect to be a manager at Trader Joe's and not like hippie whites. I mean, there are certain places that have certain demographics of customers that are your bread and butter. And speaking of bread and butter, no bread and butter is tastier than Red Lobster's. Why would a group of 15 not want Red Lobster?
Yeah.
I will say this. Maybe they came in right before closing. Maybe this wasn't race related. However, her language was extremely unnecessary. And looking at that manager, I'm gonna be honest, Dr. Ritchie, being in the city that she's from, she's probably dating a black guy. So I don't know if she's racist or just taking it out on them. Like, you remind me of my boyfriend's family. Y'all need to get out right now. So it's a conversation to be had, but it is a conversation about customer service, and business in this country is founded on customer service. So kudos to that family for doing the thing that they should do and protecting all other customers, if not all other black customers. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. And I don't think it was close to closing because they had to wait 30 to 40 minutes to be told they're not being seated. Usually a person said, hey, too close to closing. Very thankful for the CEO, just as you said, and we look forward to more great things from the CEO in the hospitality management services arena. All right. Well, our dear brother, who's been on this program multiple times, had to correct a colleague, a Republican, who said, basically, the Bible supports slavery, and we really should not be that hard on people about it. Let's go to Justin Pearson. Here it is.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this bill is about making sure that Tennessee students understand the ideas that gave birth to our nation. This legislation requires that at least once in middle school and once in high school, students are shown in a state-approved civics instructional video as part of their existing social studies instruction. The video must be historically accurate, free of political advocacy, and focus on explaining two things: the meaning of the Declaration of Independence, particularly the idea that our rights are endowed by our Creator, and the religious affiliation and moral beliefs of the founding fathers involved in the Articles of Confederation and the Constitutional Convention. This matters because today many of our students graduate without a clear understanding of where the idea of natural rights comes from and why our founders believe government must be limited. These ideas do not appear out of nowhere. They came from a worldview that believed human rights exist before government ever does. Yet a common myth has taken hold that our founders were largely atheist or deist or purely secular thinkers. The historical record shows otherwise.
I also am curious if your expectation and intention of this legislation will also be the paradox of America's foundation.
Representative Renaud.
Thank you for the question. As far as our founding fathers and those that owned slavery, it is important not to dilute history. We need to understand and know what that is so that we don't repeat those mistakes. But the Bible also says that we will be judged in the time of our culture. And at that time, that was a common practice. Not saying that's right or wrong. The Bible actually does instruct those who do own slaves on how to treat them and to treat them fairly and kindly. But our founding fathers definitely believe that all men were created equal, and it was those beliefs that moved us from the position of slavery to where we are today. So this particular legislation does not advocate to teach those things. I think we have many other pieces of civic education that likely does include that, but this intention for this legislation is for that to not necessarily be included.
Okay, we have more. I know everyone is a little shocked that a current elected official out of Tennessee is utilizing the Bible in order to justify slavery. The Bible has been utilized to justify slavery. Evil individuals will utilize scripture and anything else in order to further the evil. The Bible does not say you will be judged according to the cultural context in which you did the sin. That's not in there. But to set that aside, the irony of the illusion not being an illusion. The founding fathers wrote documents, had vigorous debate, but lived a particular lifestyle adverse to some of the values expressed in the written doctrine. It's easy to say all men are created equal when you do not believe a black man is a man. Get my point? So in that context, it's void of the contextual application of the era. These individuals want to create a truly diluted historical narrative of America. If you say all men are created equal and your meaning is humanity, why is it that black folk and women had no equal rights as white men? And white men had no equal rights if they didn't own land. Only white men who owned land could even vote under the Declaration of the Founding Fathers. So let's be 100 here. And they were the only ones who could run for office too. Okay, all right, here's our dear brother's response.
Well,
Representative Pearson.
It is nearly unconscionable to believe that you just articulated the theological vision of enslavers in this capital in the year 2026 as though it was okay. Because here's your problem. The Bible, which was written in many different iterations, but is articulating a time of thousands of years ago, was used as justification for enslavement that happened thousands of years later, 400 years ago in our country. And so even if you're trying to articulate, as you are incorrectly, that the Bible was somehow giving permission to slavery, that would have been in the era in which it was happening. It wouldn't be used as a theological justification just 400 years ago in our nation's history. But what is worse, and what is deeply disturbing by what you have just said is not how you are saying, and that was wrong or immoral. There is no question that slavery was immoral. And you shouldn't need a Bible to know that. And there were always people who were antithetical to the antebellum South's iteration of chattel slavery. The people who were enslaved, who were kidnapped from the continent of Africa and brought here against their will. And I am a Christian, and I am a 7th-generation Tennessean. I have read the Bible from front to back, and the stories about love, about who Christ is, about loving thy neighbor and loving God is what we are told to profess. So anyone who misused the Bible to enslave people, misused the Bible to keep people in bondage, they were wrong then as you are wrong now. I refuse to support this legislation because the lens by which you are viewing the world is toxic, is damning, is wrong, and is immoral. And you, my fellow colleagues, should do much more work in understanding the history of this country and understanding the history of enslavement and the consequences that it continues to wreak and the barriers it continues to create in this state and around the country. No one should ever be able to use Christianity as justification for the enslavement of people, especially not someone who has the audacity to call themselves a legislator.
Put up the picture full mass. Because the Bible, and when I say the Bible, I'm talking about the 66 books of the canonized version of the Protestant Bible that most refer to as Christian evangelicals in order to inform their legislative position. Because they utilize the Bible, and Jordan, keep those pictures up for me while I do this, I'm going to highlight a few things that may be shocking to some. One, the Bible that you are utilizing, the government gave you. The government gave you that. The government at that time was a religious-oriented or religiously oriented organization. You can call it the Catholic Church if you choose, but it was governmental in enterprise. They decided to pick and choose which books made it. That's why you have the Apocryphal, you have the Protestant 66 version, 66 books, the canonized version. You have the Ethiopian Bible that was around for 600-700 years prior to the canonization process. You have many versions of this Bible. You have the Gnostic Gospels, you have the Synoptic Gospels. It depends on what Bible you're talking about, because if you do one thing, one simple thing, and that's to get a book that only has the words of Christ, you will see very clearly he spoke against those same elements that you're talking about, clearly, with vigor, spoke against. this Old Testament rule. Now, I try to keep it simple. I'm a Christian myself. I probably don't believe the way you believe in reference, and I'm talking to Michelle Reneau, who is the Republican. I don't believe that a book should dictate my faith, even if that book is called the Bible. God gave me a brain before he gave me a book. I don't believe that the great moral clarity of human existence and the way we treat each other should be based on what somebody wrote. It should be based on your higher calling and reality of who you are, because the more you see you, the more you can see others. Unless you don't believe that others outside of you are worth it. It's not complicated. Pearson posted on X about the incident, writing, quote, "Sickening to hear a colleague seek to justify slavery with false ideology or false theology. The Bible never sanctioned America's cattle slavery. This misuse of the Bible and Christian faith was later used as justification after the kidnapping and dehumanization and economic exploitation began." In terms of the Republican's faith background, according to her official bio, quote, her father served in the U.S. Army for 26 years, where he met her mother in South Korea. Her mother worked as a seamstress in a rug factory. Her mother showed her the importance of knowing Jesus. The faith, or that faith in God, has been a cornerstone in her life ever since. Like her mother, Michelle has instilled timeless values in her children, such as love for family, country, the value of hard work, self-sufficiency, sacrifice, and love for God. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting. God is love. If you say you hate your brother, but love God whom you've never seen, you are a liar and the truth is not in you. That is in Scripture. That is in Scripture. And while we argue about the word Christianity, understand Yahshua, Jesus, the Christ, whatever you choose to call him, never brought you Christianity. Paul did. The Apostle Paul is the founder of the religion known as Christianity, or little Christ men. Before that, they were called the Way. So make sure your theology is accurate to the philosophy that you spew. Okay, dear brother, thoughts here.
Well, God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. And I agree with Pastor Brother Justin Pearson, and I rebuke the Rep Michelle Reneau in the name of Jesus. Where did that even come from? Is this a part and chapter in Project 2025 that I didn't get to with the 900 plus, where they're gonna bring back slavery and they're trying to do so? She really did not have to answer with that, by the way. She didn't have to give that answer. She could have given any other answer and it would have been on par, but she had to go and say, this is why slavery was okay. We just said God is good all the time, but especially during slavery. That is not what the Bible says. Am I out there chopping off my wife's hand because she grabbed my genitalia during a fight? Probably not. Am I selling my daughter into slavery where she can't be freed after 6 years because I owe a debt to my neighbor? Probably not. Am I justifying Jeffrey Dahmer's crimes by saying, well, we're supposed to eat the blood and body of Christ, and therefore when he was eating his party goers, he was just trying to be a good Christian? Definitely not. What I'm saying is, stop justifying evil in the name of God. Only do good.
Yeah, God gave you independence and moral clarity of self, so that you can understand that moral clarity should apply to others. If you don't want it to happen to you, maybe you should not want it to happen to somebody else. All right, we got more on the other side. Indisputable, stick and stay.
Hey everyone, Mateo Scarapore here, author of Black Buck, which is Shop TYT's first fiction book ever. I'm honored. So, Black Buck is about a young man named Darren who's living in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. He lives with his mom, He has his girlfriend, he has his best friend, he has his neighborhood, and his neighborhood has him. Darren's also working at a Starbucks in Midtown Manhattan. And one day, this man, real suave and good looking, comes in and asks Darren to give him his regular. But for some reason, Darren says no. This man named Rhett Daniels, who's the CEO of a startup called Someone, located on the 36th floor of the same building, is impressed. And he invites Darren upstairs, and then he extends an offer to join his elite sales team. Darren reluctantly joins, and he soon realizes that he's not the only black salesperson there. He's the only black person in the entire company. So he goes through hell and back in order to make it to the top. And once there, he has status, money, power, but he says, you know what? I don't like being the token black guy. So he hatches a plan to help other people of color infiltrate America's tech startup sales teams, redefining what it means to be a minority in the workplace. This book definitely, if you couldn't tell, touches on many things that are relevant to this moment that we're all living in right now. But it's also connected to the many moments in history that have come before today. I hope that you read it. I hope that you enjoy it. And if you want to order a copy, go to shoptyt.com. Thank you, be well, and happy 2021.
Here's the inside scoop on diners in LA. You want good pastrami sandwich, you go to Factors. You want to see some people in the business, you go to Nate and Al's. You want the best variety? My secret spot's the Nosh. Now here's the inside scoop on politics and news. You go watch the Young Turks live every day at 6 o'clock Eastern.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. If you are in the Atlanta area, tonight is the Georgia gubernatorial debate. I am the invited moderator. I encourage you to come. 7 p.m. we start. Try to get there early enough for parking. Our big homie and dear brother, friend of the program, Pastor Jamal Bryant, has dedicated his facility, the church, to do this. They have a really remarkable media operation there as well, giving us access to streaming also. I'll put up that flyer one more time. If you would like to stream it, if you're not in the Atlanta area, if you want to stream it starting at 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight, you can do so. Jara G-O, and the QR code is there. It will live stream tonight beginning at 7 p.m. Looking forward to it. Okay, that's some comments. I'll read as many as I can. Dex says, somebody knows this woman, help her before she gets hurt. Yeah, I mean, flexing like that, acting as if you have a gun and you are ready for an intervention. Let's put it that way. DB Hawk 3, thank you for that. Ooh, that Wappy got fired from her job for that. That's right. RJL Network, the Karenicity is strong in this one. And Robert 03 PK, your founding father was a crook. That's correct. Tone Loke 3000, the Constitution is not the Bible. It is a living document that is meant to be changed and evolve, unlike religion. Always is looking back, game over. You are correct. The Constitution was created to be a breathable living document because the amendment process is codified in the Constitution, which allows it to evolve with the culture. That is correct. And I think this is OUO, thanks. Why are legislators quoting the Bible? This isn't a church, right? And there's still the separation of church and state as the governing Supreme Court ruling. Okay. Well, we brought you this story. Young man, citizen, killed by ICE. Okay. And should not have died. Story of why he was killed, likely fabricated by ICE, contrary to the witness testimony. The mother of the victim has now spoken out, a Trump supporter who does not blame Trump. Here it is.
Just don't understand why it has to be this way.
Rachel Reyes' son, 23-year-old American citizen Ruben Ray Martinez, was killed by an ICE agent nearly 1 year ago.
I was devastated and in disbelief. And it's bad enough to lose your child, but then to lose your child at the hands of law enforcement when they're supposed to be the ones to protect your child.
ICE's involvement in Martinez's killing in March of 2025 was only publicly revealed in February, roughly 11 months later. Martinez was out celebrating his birthday with his best friend Joshua Orta in South Padre Island. ICE says one of its agents fired defensive shots into Martinez's vehicle after Martinez intentionally ran over another ICE agent.
Is that something you think your son would have done?
Absolutely not. No, of course not. He was not a violent person. He was not aggressive.
DHS's account was disputed by Orta, who said in a draft declaration that his friend did not hit anyone. Reyes says she has deep respect for law enforcement. She also supported President Trump in the 2024 election, but she says change is desperately needed.
I don't blame President Trump for the death of my son because he wasn't the one who pulled the trigger, but I do think that something needs to be changed in that department as far as the pattern of violence or abuse and impunity. Based on the statement that they made, seeing how the words that they chose to put out there about my son, that's as insult to injury.
Put it up, full mass. Rachel Reyes' son was 23 years of age, an American citizen. His name was Ruben Ray Martinez. He was shot and killed by a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent nearly 1 year ago. But she said she's still trying to understand why. Quote, I just want to know what happened, why they feel it was justified. And I honestly don't believe that. I'm not a mother in denial. I'm just a mother in doubt because I know my son and I know he's not a threat, end quote, Reyes told CBS News during her first TV interview since her son's death. Quote, I think just knowing the truth would give me closure, she added. During the interview, which took place on the 28th of February, Reyes said she had not received any videos, evidence, or official reports related to her son's killing. On Thursday, after CBS News submitted a series of questions, including about her comments, a spokesperson for the Texas Department of Public Safety said the agency had completed its investigation and that it would release records related to the shooting sometime Friday. Reyes, an American citizen and raised in Texas, said her family has deep respect for law enforcement officials and noted she voted for Donald Trump in 2024. But she said the federal government urgently needs to reform how immigration agents conduct their duties. Quote, I don't blame President Trump for the death of my son, because he wasn't the one who pulled the trigger, Reyes said. But I do think that something needs to be changed in that department as far as the pattern of violence or abuse and impunity. Can we put her and son's picture back up just for a moment? I have to be very careful how I navigate this because I can't imagine losing a child. So, ma'am, regardless of your politics, I have a heart for you. And I'm sorry this happened to you. I'm really sorry this happened to you. The answers that you are seeking are in front of you. The answers that you are seeking are in front of you. And your statement of not blaming Donald Trump, this is not about blame. This is about holding the person or the policy in proper context so that you can appropriately advocate justice for your son. Policy creates cause and effect. It is the singular policy of one man that caused this, and that happens to be Donald Trump. Because without Donald Trump's policy, you do not get ICE working domestic situations. But because of his policy, ICE is now domestic federal police de facto. Okay? Not about blame. It is about you becoming the advocate for your son that you already are. Okay? Despite her support of Trump, the Latino community opinion is shifting, according to a November Pew Research poll. About 2/3, 68%, almost 70% of U.S. Hispanics say their situation today is worse than 1 year ago. And just 9% say it is better. 65% of Latinos disagree with this administration's approach to immigration. And a majority, 52%, said they are worried that a family member or a close friend could be deported, a 10-point increase since March. Trump's net favorability rating among Hispanics is now at 28% per a recent poll through The Economist and YouGov, 13 points lower than it was in February of last year, roughly the same time last year. All right, Tehran, thoughts?
Well, first of all, of course, my condolences to the families, as often as we need to, unfortunately, give condolences to families. Rachel Reyes says, still trying to understand why this happened. Racism, madam, racism is why it happened. Current policy is why it happened. An unfortunate culture of deception when it comes to police, agency, and authority in this country is why it happened. And ultimately, President Trump and his current policies is why it happened. When people testify, well, immigration was deporting more people under Obama or under Biden, you might be correct, but the brutality and violence wasn't there. It's the idea of not just what you're doing, but how you're doing it. Institutionalizing brutality is the problem. Going after only one group of people consistently, because the key words to Ruben Martinez was American citizen. Why are ICE agents killing American citizens? That is the question we need to all be asking ourselves. And as a couple of my fellow comedians say, I'll be honest, Dr. Richey, I need to find me a Trump girl, because their unwavering loyalty, even in the face of proof, is amazing. Yeah. Like, I'll just be like, I don't blame Tehran for cheating. I blame the people he cheated with. I love that. I need some of this in my life. I need to find me a Rachel Reyes. I need that kind of love.
Brother, you'll never grow to your fullest capacity with that kind of past, brother. So just know that. All right. We need to be challenged sometimes to live our higher self. Okay. Well, what can I say? The super mayor, as she dubbed herself, Tiffany Kenyard, we've reported on her before. She was on Roland Martin's show. We highlighted that. Shout out to my big homie, Roland Martin. She has now relocated to my neck of the woods, Atlanta, Georgia. And according to the latest news report, she wants to run for commissioner here. Put it up full mass. Okay. Tiffany Kenyard, the controversial politician out of Illinois, who dubbed herself super mayor, has relocated to Metro Atlanta, now wants to serve on the Fulton County Commission. Kenyard is running as a Republican. This is a real story. She's the lone GOP candidate for the South Fulton County's District 5. It is literally one of the blackest districts in the county. Put it back up. So she is running as a Republican in South Fulton District 5, Atlanta, hoping to land a seat on the Fulton County Commission. Henyard has a contentious history in politics. However, after she was ousted as mayor of Dalton, that's a Chicago suburb, following several years of controversy over her behavior and spending of taxpayer dollars, including a 2024 FBI corruption probe. Despite the probe, no charges were filed against her. A judge recently ruled that the former mayor has to pay $10,000 in unpaid rent in Illinois. So you have to wonder, what is the Republican Party saying about this? What do they have to say? It's not our issue. It's not on the side of the left here, all right? So far, the Fulton County GOP has not even mentioned her candidacy. Fulton County Commission District 5 encompasses the southern part of the county, which is overwhelmingly Democratic. So as Republican, Gillespie said, Henyard has an uphill battle. Additionally, her newcomer status presents a bigger issue. Gillespie is a political scientist at Emory University, anticipates Democrats will exploit, quote, I am known in the community and this person is a newcomer, yet who hasn't earned the trust to be able to, run credibly for this office, Gillespie said. Welcome to Atlanta. All right, Tehran, thoughts here.
Well, I do give her points for being so persistent. If it doesn't work in Dalton, let's move to Fulton. Next one might be Holton. Who knows? She likes those kind of Olton, Tolton, Colton names in towns that she ends up in. I will say that Fulton County, South County District 5 will probably not elect her. However, there is a place in Texas called Frisco, Texas, where I feel that a lot of the denizens may be very open to her type of policy. Tiffany Henyard is a distraction at best. I applaud her for being a part of civic duty, but I also reprimand that kind of thinking because it's dangerous rhetoric that she spews. She's the person that certain people point to when they say, but I have a black friend and she said it's okay. So be mindful, be understandable, be respectful, but be full because she's full of, and you know what I was about to say.
Yeah, I really hope she gets an opportunity to debate the Democrat who currently occupies the seat. Okay, brother, always great to have you on the program. Tell people how they can follow you, check out your great work.
Well, find me all over social media at I Am Tehran, and of course at a live show near you. I'm every Thursday at the Lab Factory for Tehran Thursday. But most importantly, I just want you out there spreading the good word, and find me right here with Dr. Richie at the TYT Network. That's my favorite place to be.
Thank you, dear brother, and you are favored to be here. We appreciate all that you do. All right, the bullpen is next. Stick a stay.
Hey everyone, Mateo Scarapore here, author of Black Buck, which is Shop TYT's first fiction book ever. I'm honored. So, Black Buck is about a young man named Darren who's living in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. He lives with his mom, he has his girlfriend, he has his best friend, he has his neighborhood, and his neighborhood has him. Darren's also working at a Starbucks in Midtown Manhattan. And one day, this man, real suave and good looking, comes in and asks Darren to give him his regular. But for some reason, Darren says no. This man named Rhett Daniels, who's the CEO of a startup called Someone, located on the 36th floor of the same building, is impressed. And he invites Darren upstairs, and then he extends an offer to join his elite sales team. Darren reluctantly joins, and he soon realizes that he's not the only black salesperson there. He's the only black person in the entire company. So he goes through hell and back in order to make it to the top. And once there, he has status, money, power, but he says, you know what? I don't like being the token black guy. So he hatches a plan to help other people of color infiltrate America's tech startup sales teams. redefining what it means to be a minority in the workplace. This book definitely, if you couldn't tell, touches on many things that are relevant to this moment that we're all living in right now. But it's also connected to the many moments in history that have come before today. I hope that you read it. I hope that you enjoy it. And if you want to order a copy, go to shoptyt.com. Thank you, be well, and happy 2021.
Here's the inside scoop on diners in LA. You want good pastrami sandwich, you go to Factors. You want to see some people in the business, you go to Nate and Al's. You want the best variety? My secret spot's the Nosh. Now here's the inside scoop on politics and news. You go watch the Young Turks live every day at 6 o'clock Eastern.
Let's get it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the bullpen. All right. As I've been telling you, we have a big debate tonight. Georgia gubernatorial debate, Democratic gubernatorial debate taking place tonight at 7 p.m. You can come live. New Birth is the location. If you are not able to make it, you can scan the QR code, stream live on Jerigo, and we will begin promptly at 7 p.m. Our dear brother, Pastor Jamal Bryant, friend of the program, been on the show many times, a good friend, provided the New Birth facility for this. The partner who brought this and coordinated this is none other than a remarkable public servant, the Honorable Alana Sanders. Ms. Sanders, Newton County public servant and longtime community advocate, previously served as a Newton County commissioner, held leadership roles as vice chair, board commissioners, vice chair of the Public Facilities Authority, and many, many others. She also worked with the National Association of Counties and the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia while serving in local office. She currently serves as a board member of Newton County Family Connection and remains active in various organizations, including the 13th Congressional Federation of Democratic Women in partnership with Pastor Brian New Birth. And that is why we have this amazing opportunity. And once again, you can tune in live. Dear sister, always good to talk to somebody who gives a damn about community and exhibits leadership wherever they go. How are you?
I am doing amazing. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. We only got a few minutes, so I want to make sure people understand why this election is so important in the state of Georgia, which has become a de facto battleground state. We have two U.S. senators from Georgia that are Democratic, Senator Warnock and Senator Ossoff. You now have an interesting slate of candidates in the Democratic primary that includes a former Republican who was elected statewide prior to becoming a Democrat. So this is a very interesting time in politics in Georgia.
This is why debates are so important, so that the voter can hear from their potential candidate. I always stress to come out and to hear what these candidates have to say. And as you stated, Dr. Ritchie, this is a very important election, not only at the governor's race, Secretary of State, and all the others that are on the ballot. But tonight, we're electing the highest position. We're actually going to be electing the highest position in the state of Georgia. And we're going to hear from those front runners, those candidates. All the candidates were invited. So I want to make sure I put that out there. Everyone was invited. But we're going to have 6 of the front runners based on the results of what they say in the state of Georgia. These are our front runners that will be here tonight. And we'll be able to hear from them, their plight, their platform, and what they actually stand for Georgia. And the great thing about it, majority of them are former electeds, are currently elected, besides one of them is a pastor. So we're going to hear what they have to say. So it's going to be very interesting tonight.
Can you explain the connection between a statewide elected official and how that can impact other elections, including U.S. Senate, congressional?
We have to make sure we have the right person that's sitting in that office of governor, because they are connected to the federal government. Any funds that we receive, but we know right now our governor has not received, accepted the Medicaid, and we're having issues with that. Federal grants, anything that we have coming from the federal government goes to the governor's office, and as well as our redistricting. That is so very important. So we have to have the right person in place in leadership that understands government, for one, understands the needs of the state of Georgia, understand what the people needs in the state of Georgia, and has that compassion for the people. And I say that all the time, Dr. Rishi. Anybody who goes into a public service office has to have compassion for the people, for number one, because that's who vote for them and put them in place. So we have to make sure when we're going to the polls, we are selecting the right person who's going to step in place and represent all of Georgia, no matter what their party is. It's going to represent all areas of Georgia, from suburban to urban to rural.
Very well said. You remind me of how pivotal the Texas governor has been to Trump's attempted takeover. Yes. That if you play checkers, you never would have saw that coming. But if you understand chess, you know that the governor is in position to work directly with federal lawmakers and the president's office directly in order to either say yay or nay to the maps or the district lines that elect your federal representatives.
Yes, and also it affects the local government as well.
That's right.
We're speaking about redistricting, how we actually receive our representatives on the local office, on the local jurisdiction. Because I always tell people here, your local government is very important as well. That's why it's also important to find the right person who's going to sit in place, because if they mess with those maps, these are the representation that we have on the local level here in those various counties and those various cities. So it's important that we pay attention to all gamuts of the elected office of governor, because everyone could be affected, even with the dollars that are coming down to the local office, the local jurisdictions. We have to make sure somebody who understands what happens on the local level. And I always say this is not talking about any candidate. When a person starts on the local level, have held a local office or held a state office and going into a next position, they understand the needs of the people and they understand how this is all ran. And so it's important that we look at those different areas of who actually is running for office today.
Well said. Dear sister, I look forward to seeing you this evening. Greatly appreciate your continued leadership and dedication to open democracy.
Thank you so much, and looking forward to seeing you tonight.
Thank you. All right, there you have it. Once again, you can tune in live starting at 7 p.m. Jordan, if we can get that digital flyer back up, the QR code is right there. We'd love to see you. If you are local in the Atlanta area, stop by. We'd love to see you, hug your neck, and take a picture with you, all right? Okay. Remember, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.